Howdy, it's Mr. Pete again, and I'm sitting again next to the 6-inch Atlas Craftsman Model 618 lathe, and this will be a two-part video series within this cluster of videos I have made for using this lathe. I think it's already about number 10 or so, but anyway, this is video tips number 1002, part 1, and video 1003 will be part 2, and what I'm going to do in this video is I want to make a faceplate or dog plate or drive plate for this little machine. I do not have one. Surprisingly enough, it didn't come with one, so I intend to make a pattern and then a casting and then machine it. So that's why it's going to take two videos, so stick with me. Now the reason I need a dog plate on here is because I'm planning a video on turning the commutator of armatures, because someone's sending me the attachment for undercutting the MICA. But I'd like to have a faceplate and drive this end with a dog, probably smaller than that, and then on the tailstock end, I will use my Jacob's chuck with the brass jaws, but that's what this is all about, and that's a future video if I ever actually make it. And so I did a little research and found out that both in the Atlas catalog and the Sears Craftsman catalog, they did not sell the plate separately. It was among the original items that came with the machine, including the gears and the wrenches, but that was really the only accessory that came. Therefore, they do not show any of these faceplates as spare parts, or that is, in the catalogs, you'd probably have to send to Clausing maybe, and they would get you one or sell you one, because it would be a part of a lathe rather than accessory readily available in the catalogs. And it's 5.5 inches in diameter. Let's spin this chuck off. Always put a board under it. Well, you might find it interesting. Well, we already talked about this. This thread on the spindle is a 1-inch diameter, 8 threads per inch. The more common size seems to be the 1-inch by 10, but this is what I'm going to deal with. And, you know, I don't usually make threads that large, but when I did the research, I realized that's just a standard 1-inch by 8 national course thread. So I will be using this big old tap here to tap the hole in my casting. And yes, it will be an aluminum faceplate. I cannot do iron, but that will be plenty strong for what I'm doing here. It'll be just fine. All right, let's go down to the other shop and talk about the pattern. And I still will make the pattern or show part of that and make the casting in this particular part. And you're right, this is ancient technology. This is a generator out of an old Chevy, I believe. We haven't used generators since, what, 1960 or so? We use alternators. However, starters have a similar setup here with a commutator and all that, but everything's throwaway now. People no longer turn commutators, or very few people do. So it's probably not a useful video for you. This is something you will never do, but I should put it under my ancient technology series. This is a common hex nut, 1-inch course, and fits right on the spindle, doesn't it? That's pretty awesome. That way I do not have to do it by the single point method. And to be honest with you, I do not think this lathe has the capability of allowing me to turn this project. It'll probably have to be done on one of my other lathes. Certainly, probably not to make that thread. So I'll probably do that on the Clausing lathe. I know that's blasphemy. And this is the MICA undercut I just spoke of, and I do have one of these coming on loan very soon. This is the dog plate and the faceplate off of my 12-inch Atlas Craftsman lathe. So let me tell you the difference. First of all, this is 8.5-inch diameter, and this one is 6 inches in diameter. They're the 1.5 thread. This would be called a dog plate or a drive plate. this correctly is called a faceplate. They have different appearances. Some will have T-slots, some will have threaded holes, but they are designed, well, you can use a dog with them and put the tail in the slot, but they are also used to clamp work or bolt work onto the faceplate in order to machine it. So now these are the dog plates off of the Unimat. So these are only about 2.5 inches in diameter with a metric thread, and we would call these dog plates as well. So we have 8.5, 6, and 2.5, and this is the size that I will be making, 5.25 finished size. So I will make a pattern about 5.5 inches so I can machine it and it will clean up real nice. So that's the general size of what I'm going to make. One other point here, notice that both of the Atlas Craftsman plates are balanced. Now, you know, Atlas goes through, is very criticized. People are very critical of it, but they made some pretty good products. They're just underrated, I believe. All right, let's begin on the pattern. The compass is set so I can swing a 5.5 inch circle, like wow. Now the pattern will need a hub on it, so I have drawn that in also, and then the smaller hole is essentially the threaded hole. So now I did not use a pattern maker's shrink rule, just no need, because the dimensions on this aren't critical at all, except for the hole and the thread. Well, I'm making a little progress here. So actually I had 2 concentric circles. The outside circle was to saw, and I sawed it at 3 degrees. You can't tell that really, but now I'm going to go over to the sander and I'll sand this down to the line as well as I can. Remember, that'll be machined later on anyway. And then I was working on the hub here, and I even glued 2 pieces together because one thickness wasn't quite enough. But that's kind of a tight turn to make on the bandsaw and sand and all that. So I'm going to use a piece of Delrin, which is about the right size. Simply put that into the closing lathe and turn a taper. 3-degree taper by, what, 5/8 thick, long, whatever. Okay, let's turn a taper, 3 degrees. And that's all there is to it. Okay, I'm going to cut it off to 3/4 inch long. All right, 3 degrees of draft has been sanded on it, or should I say burned on it. Needs a new belt, but it's not going to get one. So now I've got a brads pierced through the plastic. Delrin is what it is, if you want to know. Well, I need a fillet in here. I was going to use leather, but since the leather cannot be glued onto the Delrin, it would only stick to the wood. It's just kind of tricky on a tight radius like that. So I'm going to use Bondo along with my ball. Well, I won't be using this Bondo. I bought that in June of 2019. Only used the dab of it, and this is just totally hard as a rock. Well, just so you know what happened here, let me explain it. Probably shouldn't, but this product is hardening from the day it is manufactured. When you use a catalyst, it simply speeds that up. This hardener speeds up that reaction, so it just got hard after 5 years. Well, fortunately, I had another can of this, but it says 2019 on it also. That's soft, but well, Looks good and liquid on the top, but it's just as, I don't know why I'm showing you this. Now we need Plan C. Okay, here's Plan C. Durham's Rock Hard Water Putty. I've been using this ever since I was 9 years old, and I do not believe there is a shelf life on this as long as you keep it dry. And this is Clark Easterling's favorite filler. If you watch his Windy Hill Foundry. So I'll mix this up with a little bit of water. I don't think it's going to be as smooth, but I believe I can use my finger with this. Okay, that's what it looks like when it's mixed with water. Let's see what we got here. You know what? I found out that my fillet shapers work better than the ball, so I did go back and add a little bit more and just work this around like that. And I have, what? I think there's 8 different radii here. So this became my solution along with these. Okay, the pattern is done, and I've done a little bit of sanding here in the radius, so it looks pretty good. And notice that I could make my pattern such that these holes, or slots, I should say, would be cast right in. For instance, in this plate, these, from the feeling in here, this was just cast rather than machined. And that would save a lot of time if a fellow was going to make a lot of these, but since it's a one of, it really doesn't matter, and one slot will probably go all the way out. So I'll just machine those later on with an end mill, and it'll be pretty simple to do. And the reason I want 2 slots is to try to keep it somewhat in balance. I don't think it probably matters a whole lot. Also, in making the pattern, I could have made it much more complex with this type of rim and the ribs and everything. I like the looks of that very much, but it would be a lot of work compared to just making a straight one. In this case, this one was machined from solid stock, whereas this is aluminum and is a casting. Steel, aluminum. Well, let's go on out in the foundry and cast one of these up. I hope I can remember how to do that. I haven't made a casting in 2 years. See you in Studio F. The pattern is 5.5 inches in diameter, and putting it here on the little Atlas, you can see there's not a whole lot of clearance, but I will machine this down to about 5 1/4 after the casting is made, and 5 1/4 is the size that Atlas shows in the catalog. Okay, I'm out in the foundry. This is a 10 by 12 flask. Here is the flat back pattern, but I will put it in the other half of the flask here. So I will just ram this up with sand, and I won't explain everything because you've seen all of this, and I will probably speed up some of the footage. And this is Petrobond oil-based sand, oil bonded, and this has been freshly mulled. I have a question for you. Were my feet quite white enough? And did you see my toenails on my little toes? They look like cashews. Okay, we'll strike it off. Now I'm going to cut a riser, and I hope I hit the hub, or about hit the hub. And it shouldn't be, yeah, and I did, because it's not very deep, just that deep. And then over here I will cut the sprue, and then there'll be a gate. Ray gave me this molding spoon not too long ago. Hope he's watching. Thank you, Ray. Okay, it's ready to pour. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes since I poured the aluminum. Let's see what we got. Hey. Okay, let me get it cooled off, and we'll take a look at it. We're just about at the end of the video. I missed my mark here with the riser. I would have wanted it right in the middle, but it looks like there's little or no shrinkage, and that's what the riser is all about. Well, it looks pretty good, except that I didn't get the riser right on center here, but I think it's going to work. So it's going to look like this. Now, I generally like to make 2 castings, so off camera I'll make another casting just in case my son-in-law runs off with this and plays frisbee. Okay, in this video we went from wood to aluminum, and it's ready to machine, so that concludes part 1 of this 2-part series, which in itself is part 10 in the Atlas 618 series. So be sure and watch part 2 of this as I attempt to machine, thread, face, turn, bore, and all that fun stuff. And that's in the next video. Be sure and watch it. And if you like this type of video, please give me a thumbs up and even consider subscribing. And I have 1,500 other videos, and I charge you with watching some of them. So long for now.